Yeah. I mean, like, it's one of the people who be registered, right? And that's just not about the week.
Lake City Council meeting to order. Sorry, I call the North Lake City Council meeting to order at 7:04. You would please rise, pledge allegiance. Pretend the flag is there, bear with us. Here it is. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States
and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Lord, you call the roll, please.
Thank you. Mayor Dumbrell,
Present.
Councilor DeForge,
Present.
Councilor Hagedorn. Present. Councilor Ugarte. Present. Councilor Warrington.
present again. Sorry about that.
Councilor Weber.
Right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Lori. Let's see. Next, I will entertain a motion on the approval of the previous minutes and the consent agenda.
So. Councilor Weber.
Council Weber moved. Do I have a second?
Councilor Ford, second.
All right, Council Ford seconds. All in favor of approving the minutes and the consent agenda, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next is I'm sorry, I did have one thing I need. We're going to postpone the executive session until next meeting, and we'll conduct that in person. So next is proclamation of National Public Works Week. So should I make Justin stand for this? All right, I'm going to read this though because these are fun. Rooted in service, powered by community. Where public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to the sustainable and resilient communities and to public health, high quality of life, and the well-being of the people of North Plains, Oregon. And whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals, for engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government, and the private sector who are responsible for rebuilding, improving our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings and other structures, and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for citizens, civic leaders, and the children in North Plains to gain knowledge of and maintain an ongoing interest in understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. Whereas the year 2026 marks the 66th annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association. Be it now resolved, I, Aaron Dumbrell, Mayor of North Plains, do hereby designate the week of May 17th through 23rd, 2026 as National Public Works Week. I urge all citizens to join with representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies in activities, events, and ceremonies designated to pay tribute to our public works professionals. Cody Brown, Isaiah Cooper, Matt Schnepp, Jason Egberg, and Dustin Lukey, and to recognize substantial contributions they make to protecting our national health, safety, and advancing the quality of life of Plains residents. All right, so now we move on to public comment. So a couple of things before we start. I am going to remind us all that whether we live in the city or out of the city, we're all neighbors. So let's please try to be respectful and courteous. If you just want to come and, complain about the city staff or complain about council, that's your right. It's under the First Amendment. It's not productive. So if that's what you're going to do, please try to be a little bit respectful and tone it down. Because we have 19 public comments, we will do 2 minutes each. So I will call you up. I will call your name twice. If you don't come up, I will go to the next person. You have business to be conducted. So please be respectful, be courteous, and remember these are your neighbors, whether you agree with them or not. So first, I'm going to ask Joanna Hunt to come up. And if you can name resident, rural resident, or non-resident, and you'll have 2 minutes.
Johanna Hunt, I am a resident. Good evening, Mayor and councilors. I wanted to provide a brief update on the North Plains Volunteer Network. We are continuing to make strong progress towards our anticipated launch date in June. One of the biggest developments since I came and spoken with you last is a partnership with Portland State University. Their capstone or their computer science team is now actively working on the technology platform that will support volunteer coordination, client requests, and reporting needs for the program. This is a really exciting collaboration. I also wanted to share that we got grant funding through City Development Block Grant, Washington County. So thank you, Councilwoman Halpin, for your support and for serving on the grant board. We truly appreciate the time and advocacy that has gone into helping to make this pilot possible. Right now, we're focused on building the person side of the program as much as the technology side. So we're actively recruiting for a part-time role for a program coordinator, as well as forming an advisory committee of community members who want to help shape and support the program as it grows. Additional information on both of those opportunities will be included in the meeting minutes for anyone who's interested. We also are continuing to build the pre-launch volunteer list. Anyone who's interested in volunteering, receiving updates, or learning more can reach out at npvolunteernetwork@gmail.com. Thank you for your continued support. We're excited to keep moving forward towards the launch and continue building a program that's centered around neighbors helping neighbors here in North Plains.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next is Shelley. I think it's Cherokee. Sorry, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Dunborough and councilors. My name is Shelley Terralta, and I live in the Sunset Ridge development. Thank you for your service to our community and the opportunities to talk today. I feel that your job is not easy, and it has been made overly difficult by your city manager, Bill Reed. Mr. Reed was hired to implement a massive, unnecessary, and unwanted urban growth boundary expansion. He continued this project even after the voters overwhelmingly voted down the expansion in 2023. He was promoted to city manager above other more qualified candidates right before the existing city council left office so he could push this project, even as new reform candidates entered office. And he has been using staff time, our tax dollars, and resources to push this expansion without public support ever since. I and other Sunset Ridge residents would be especially impacted by the expansion plan that Mr. Reed is currently promoting. Our residential development and school would be surrounded by data centers and warehouses. We would be impacted by air and water pollution and urban level traffic. In exchange, we'd have very few jobs and have to cover the tax burden of these industries that would receive massive tax abatements. We do not want this development, and the city manager does not have the authority to force it on us. On top of that, an audit has not been done in 4 years, and we don't even know how much money has been spent to plan for this expansion. Additionally, the arbitrary decision-making regarding the food bank deliveries created a fiasco, making the city of North Plains look incompetent and inept. It is an embarrassment and created possible liability.
Thank you, that's
for the
fine.
city. That 2 minutes?
That's 2 minutes. Next up is Fawn.
evening, Mary Dunbar and councilors. My name is Fawn Hosey. I bring greetings and concerns from Safe Helvetia, your neighbors. We have lots of interests in common. We want the best for our long-term future. Like you, we're volunteers, and we feel immense pressure from the benefits for industrial growth. We want to retain our rural sense of place, a desire also expressed by North Plains in landslide vote 2 years ago. We applaud your commitment and your values. Long-term, our future granddaughters and grandsons cannot live without freshwater farmers, agriculture, and the land. In fact, our region's second strongest economic sector, agriculture, does double duty in building the economy, selling goods across the country and around the world while stewarding the land, the landscape, water, sense of place, and actually improving our best in the world soils. We have growing concerns that become urgent when we hear word salads like URATGMIGA, RELIC, TAC, PAC, RAC, grants, budgets, resolutions, and delinquent audits, the EOA, HNA, UGB ordinances 484, 489, and 490. We have concerns that while some of the ingredients in that chopped salad are related and identifiable, it's likely that most of your voters don't. They don't know what they are or how they endanger their small town life. Additionally, we have concerns that as officials required to make informed decisions for your constituents, you are not receiving appropriate reports to inform your decisions. To get access to the necessary missing information and bring tranquility back to North Plains, it's clear that it's high time for a tough decision. Thank you.
You do. Next up is Matthew. Thank you. Sorry.
Good afternoon, my name is Matt Spell. I'm a Hillsborough resident, live about 3 miles away. My farmers that feed my family live literally in North Plains, about a mile down the road, and then about 3 miles down the road in Helvetia. So my concern is that this is a continuing game of every few years trying to grab more land. I've seen it in Hillsborough. We have data centers that have available sites. They can't be built, we have warehouse. We say affordable housing, but everything I see going up is not affordable. Long story short, referendum 2 years ago said 71% of the residents had no interest. There's not been accounting. We have no idea what the funding is. When we look at the Department of Justice in Oregon, we find that in other places where there's a drive to actually push these agendas, that there's actually conflicts of interest. We don't know if there's conflicts of interest because we have no records, but we're spending money and spending a lot of it instead of, repairing sidewalks and other things that might actually benefit the city. The other thing is we're also finding in Morrow County, there's a lot of health risks because what they didn't account for because they didn't do the work because they were too fast getting it in, is that there's groundwater runoff that's exceeding and pushing more nitrates in the groundwater, which is people, hair cancer rates, et cetera. So the thing is, if the homework's not being done, if we don't have audits, we don't know the money, how do you know that the end result is what you want? At the planning meeting, we found that we need the funds from the expansion to pay for the expansion that didn't get completed the last time. That doesn't sound like planning, that sounds like a mistake, or the type of thing you do when you look at all the positives, you miss all the negatives. That's what accounting's for. Anyways, the oversight. Thank you.
Next is Pat, Walter. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Can you hear me in the back?
No. Yeah, no.
Okay, I'll try to speak up because I sat back there and been unable to hear. I live at 9555 Northwest 316th Place, Hillsborough, south, the city limits, south of 26. I previously testified before the council in August of 23 during the proposed UGB expansion, which was to include the 34 acres identified as subsection B, south of 26, where I live. Now, in light of all that's happened since then, I'm here to urge you to create an opportunity for the city to prosper under new direction. A new manager will start afresh in directing growth that reflects the desires of the people, who is fiscally responsible, whose decision-making is in concert with the council, and who values meaningful dialogue with the entire surrounding community. None of these criteria, in my opinion, are currently being met, and there is no time to waste. The UGB Express is on the platform, the engine is running, and no one but developers are on board. Thank you.
Hello, Council. Ron Bunch, retired city planner and volunteer with Princess Smart Growth and Strong Towns. We deeply admire and respect you for taking on this incredibly hard job. You are patriots to your. After the 2024 referendum, all thought the large UGB issue was resolved. However, council and city manager, the previous council, have worked hard to undermine the referendum vote through legislation and lawsuits aligned with the powerful interests. Now, relevant is the previous mayor asking the governor to make sure planning grants did not time out, then covertly signing agreements without authorization to fund what city manager is doing now. Implement a new UGB proposal combined with a land use plan for at least 550 acres. City council at one time expressed interest in using funds to study this area, this city council. The state originally responded, only use this stuff for existing conditions, but now they are being used to develop a full concept land use plan. The cart before horse approach is being used contrary to state rules. UGB first and then concept plan later. That's not the way it works. Development could happen fast if the UGB was approved with a concept plan in place. I, as a planner, have done some previous things like this with private dollars. Now, when a UGB designation is accompanied by a land use plan, approved land use policies, these exist now. The land use plans, the TGM grant, then city annexation can quickly follow. Soon after permits and construction can occur. You're looking at months, not years at all. I've done this previously. The UGB expansion is front loaded. Ordinances used to justify the old UGB per city attorney could support the city manager's project. They are valid, usable until repealed. Previous requests to appeal them were resisted by staff. Bottom line, despite the referendum, the city administration continues the effort to implement the previous council and others UGB and real estate ambitions. And there's a good plan that they have to do it. So finally, what this does for the current city council is that it brings us a question of trust.
Next up is Russ Sheldon.
Russ Sheldon, resident of Plains. Served as the chair of the Urban Renewal Agency for 8 years. I have serious concerns about the proposal to incorporate DCMAs into the current URA. I do not believe that this represents an appropriate use of tax increment financing or aligns with the agency's intended purpose. Expanding the URA in this way risks blurring the boundaries of the adopted plan and deviating from the original vision established by its founders. Any significant change should first involve consultation with partner jurisdictions that are currently foregoing tax revenues under the URA structure. Inviting conflict or legal challenges from those jurisdictions is not a wise use of the city's already limited political capital. The URA should remain focused on the true urban renewal projects that drive meaningful economic development and provide long-term community benefit. Second, the city council has not yet addressed Linda Gallus Merton's false statements regarding the surety bond, despite those statements being contradicted by the surety bond company's general counsel. Counsel for the insurer stated that Linda misrepresented herself as being authorized by the city to inquire about the bond account. The public deserves to know why this conduct and the subsequent threat of an OGEC complaint never has been addressed. There are also broader concerns about the coordination and influence involving Don Weber, Linda Gallisburton, Mark DeForge, Anna Warrington, and Laura Dexheimer. Public records and public appearances.
Next up is.
My name is Emily Waldron. I am a third generation rural resident of North Plains. I am here to speak today about concerns with the UGB as well as the TGM grant. I sat on the relook committee. I'm sure city staff are kicking themselves for allowing me to sit on the relook committee from 2024 to 2025. I noticed that myself and Councilor Weber, who were the only two critical of not being given real options, less than 550 acres for a UGB, were the only two not invited to be on the current TGM committee. I have concerns because when we develop a UGB in tandem with how in-depth the TGM grant is working, it means that you can hit the ground running so fast that you could have a data center built within less than a year, just like how Hillsborough has developed the land off of Jackson School Road. They acquired it less than a year later. We have multiple roads, multiple developments, all of this infrastructure. So every single time that you all think we keep having more time to sit and wait and discuss, that's not true. And all of these development operatives and industrial operatives are working in the background faster than you realize. I continue to ask, as I have for over a year now, that you all look at rescinding ordinances 484, 489, and 490, because these are the ordinances that allow city staff to continue planning a UGB without having to have as much in-depth oversight by you as a council. It allows them to go to the planning committee instead and just present you with the final option versus having to incorporate you all the rest of the way. I will bring up, there's so many more issues with transparency. As we learned at the last TGM group meeting, the TGM grant project has been extended to November. When did you all authorize that? When was that extension brought to you? When you are the ones who are supposed to be overseeing it. It's just more and more evidence that city staff and other interests continue to push an urban growth boundary to develop industry without it. Thank you.
Next up is. Anita.
Hello, City Council and audience. My name is Anita Spaeth. I just moved to North Plains a month ago. I wish I had more specific facts like some of these other folks do, but I'm gonna go a little bit more granular and personal here. I'm a fourth generation Oregonian from multiple generations of small business owners and farmers. I currently work as a programs coordinator for a nonprofit that provides free agricultural teaching resources for Oregon's K-12 educators. I've been active in resisting the urban growth boundary expansion efforts across Washington County because I am saliently aware of the negative impacts that these efforts of brazen destruction of agricultural lands and erosion of community values will have on the quality of life for so many county residents. Primarily, I'm here to speak on behalf of my status as a food bank patron, and that the actions surrounding the current urban growth boundary expansion will negatively impact the existence of its status as a critical food source for North Plains residents among agricultural lands. I must insist by reiterating that I'm a fourth generation Oregonian working for a nonprofit predicated on supporting agricultural education for youth. And this impact feels especially painful. I have a master's degree, I'm an AmeriCorps term under my belt, and I still continue to rely on services such as those food banks provide. I'm thrilled to join this community and contribute my experiences and skills in agriculture, education, and community engagement. I'm thrilled to get to know my new neighbors, and I hope to continue to do so while attending the food bank, library, and other rich amenities this community has to offer. And I am also now a voter, and I reject these communities or these, urban growth boundary expansions that'll result in, more data centers. And, social media right now does not look kindly to those efforts. I just mentioned that. Thank you.
Here.
Lori has two handouts for you guys, one from me and one from Strong Towns.
They're already out.
They are already out. We are coming to you to ask that you do not renew Bill Reed's contract as the city manager. In my packet, you'll see 175 signatures. Those are from our volunteers, our clients, and community members. With Strong Towns, you've got 209 people who have signed a petition asking you not to renew his contract. We have continued to have being harassed by Bill Reed and the other city people. We, on Tuesday, we saw Rowan out there taking pictures, and we saw Dustin stop and take pictures from his car of the way the people were parking in the new loading zone. It is not our responsibility to tell people that after decades of parking the way they were, that it all of a sudden changed. Then, I assume it was Bill Reed, city manager, had Chief O'Reilly come to the food bank and basically threaten us and letting us know that he will be starting to issue citations to our clients if they are parking wrong in our loading zone. I asked him, where do you expect our clients to park since you've taken away all of their parking spots? His response was, that's not my problem. It is your guys' problem. You guys need to put up proper signage before you make these changes and not expect us to pick up your mess or the city's mess or their experts who came up with this mess. But it is just one more thing of showing how we are being harassed by the city staff.
Thank you, that's time.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Iris from Toledo. Everybody calls me grandma.
Pull the mic up there.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
There you go.
Is that better?
Yes.
I'm Iris from Toledo. Everybody calls me grandma. Old lady. Now, I live on 314, right down the street. I've been in this town for 10 years. I was a volunteer across the street at the food bank or at the senior center, the Meals on Wheels. Now, for the past almost 2.5 years, I've been with the food bank here in town. They're doing a wonderful job. And the doors opened. So now it has done nothing but increase. People like us. We try to do honest and good and caring help for them. Load their pockets with food. Expenses are so expensive between utilities and financial, we cannot afford food. And that's minimal, who cares? Well, you try to not raise a family and not be able to put food on the table. People need your help, and we need support at the food bank. All the help we can possibly get, all of it. And either you're for us or against us, and there's obviously a lot in this town that's against us. Why? I couldn't tell you. All you have to do is walk across this town, your arms open up to the people. I love everyone here, and we all need to help and support these people. I'm included in one of them. I need all the help I can get. Please open your hands, open your heart. Wherever you can and help us, not decline us. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Wanda. Wanda?
Yeah.
Mhm. Next is Sue Hoff.
Good evening, Sue Hauker, resident of North Plains, the city. I guess I'm just a little overwhelmed, with the complaints that we're getting here. I mean, I'm with the last lady. We all need to help each other. And I don't think the problem is with the citizens themselves. I think we all get along. We all walk by each other. We say hi, you know, we help each other. But when you get a lot of the outside influences, and we want their opinions, it's just, they can't tell us what to do. They're not paying our bills. I would love to help more with the food bank. But because I had a difference of opinion and asked a question, I was taken off the food bank. I have no idea what's going on. The same with Linda Gallus Martin. And so it's like, those are the problems that we're having. I can't even help down there because I don't know what's going on. So if they're talking about you guys not being transparent, they need to look. They're not being transparent because they're hiding. Did anybody else that maybe be against them come to the meeting tonight? No, why? Because they weren't transparent. They only sent it out to their groups or people that go to the same ones. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is John Platt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is John Platt. I'm a landowner and resident of Helvetia, where I farm and manage forest land and over 70 acres. I believe I'm a stakeholder in North Plains. For the last 40 years, I've come into the city at least a couple of times each week for fuel, for food, for equipment repairs, and vehicle repairs. And North Plains is also the home of many of my customers. As a stakeholder, I am concerned about the future of the city under the leadership of this council, because you are responsible for the collection and expenditure of tax revenues, vital functions for the financial health of the city. The current city manager has been employed by the city, I understand, since 2019, first as economic development director, as then finance director, and now as the city manager and finance director. In those roles, he has had a fiduciary duty, particularly with respect to the operating fund and the Urban Renewal Agency Fund, which are separate legal entities. For obvious reasons, Oregon law requires annual audits of both agencies. Failure to do so may be a breach of fiduciary duty. Failure to require city employees to do so may make the city council liable for breach of fiduciary duty. I would urge you to promptly remedy this situation or risk liability for inaction. Thank you.
Thank you. Denise.
How close do I speak? How close? Close. Close? Oh, okay. Good evening, Mayor Dunbar and councilors. My name is Denise Kerr and I've lived in Hillsborough for 40 years. I'd like to read information from the web on the legitimacy of a city manager to self-appoint themselves as the finance and planning manager, such as Mr. Bill Reed. That's a serious violation. No. A city manager cannot appoint themselves as acting finance and planning manager. Typically, the city manager has the authority to appoint department heads, but self-appointment would generally violate governance protocols. A city manager typically has the authority to appoint department heads and manage city operations. However, there are governance protocols that must be followed. Government protocols. self-appointed by the city manager is generally not permitted. This is to maintain checks and balances within the city's administration. Allowing the city manager to appoint themselves could lead to conflicts of interest and undermine the integrity of the governance structure. City council oversight appointments usually require approval from the city council, ensuring that the process is transparent and accountable. While city managers can appoint department heads, they must do so in accordance with established rules and regulations. In summary, a city manager cannot legally appoint themselves as acting finance and planning manager due to the government's protocol to prevent self-appointment. The city manager is typically appointed by the mayor or city council, often after a screening process, and must be confirmed by the city council.
Thank you, that's
So that-
time.
Who said that?
I said that, that is time, there's 2 minutes, thank you. Okay, next up, we have Adam Sunshine on Zoom, if you want to unmute, you have 2 minutes.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Great. Mayor Dumbro, members of City Council, my name is Adam Sunshine. I live near North Plains and I work on a local vegetable farm that counts dozens of North Plains residents and CSA members. While I can't vote North Plains, I will be impacted by the decisions that North Plains City Manager Bill Reed is making without your approval. The new City Council never asked Mr. Reed to continue the plan for the expansion, and this is not required by law, yet this excessive expansion has been Mr. Reed's primary focus even after reform candidates joined council. The process Mr. Reed orchestrated is designed to justify a 500+ acre land grab to the southeast of the city. A much smaller, more reasonable expansion could have been done with a simplified process authorized by the state. Instead, Mr. Reed wants to almost double the city size and is spending hundreds of thousands of tax dollars to do so against the will of North Plains voters. Furthermore, an expansion this excessive would fast-track North Plains and the surrounding land to be brought into Portland Metro urban growth boundary. The ecological impact on the city's agricultural neighbors has been completely ignored. I urge you to hold City Manager Reed accountable and remove him from office for using tax dollars against the will of your constituents. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Loretta Furrow on 2 minutes. Loretta Furrow. Loretta? All right, let's move on to Linda Gillis Martin.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Linda Gillis Merton, representing Strong Towns North Plains, with members both unincorporated and incorporated. Tonight, we bring 2 management concerns to your attention that, in our view, justify immediate action. First, we have learned that the 22 audit is expected to identify at least 30 deficiencies requiring corrective action. As we noted in testimony last year, the 2021 audit also identified significant deficiencies. We were especially concerned to learn from Umpqua Valley Financial at a recent council meeting that one of these issues involved a lack of internal controls. Because that same deficiency was cited in the 2021 audit, it appears the problem has not yet been resolved. We are also concerned that it may continue into 23, 24, 25, and beyond. In our view, this issue requires accountability and cannot be ignored. The second concern is the failure to follow proper procedure. Mr. Reed increased his spending authority for certain contracts by $25,000 without bringing the change to the council for approval. He also did not present an amendment to Resolution 1250, which currently limits that authority to $25,000. Instead, the increase was included in the appendix to the biennial budget without being clearly disclosed, and the budget was then presented for approval. We do not believe the city manager's conduct in these matters is acceptable. In our view, it does not meet the city's standards for sound governance and places the council in a very difficult position. We are concerned that the council is too often informed of these matters only through public inquiry rather than through external disclosure.
Next up is Elizabeth with Happy Play. Want to come off mute? You have 2 minutes.
Okay. So my name is Elizabeth Beaupain. I live in North Plains and I am the owner of Happy Play, which is an indoor playground and full service cafe. I am a mom of 2 and first-time business owner. Our family poured everything we had into creating Happy Play. As many know, running a small business, especially in North Plains, has not been easy. When I applied for the city's food and beverage tenant improvement grant back in 2023, when construction hadn't even started, I was willing to adjust our layout or expand our food offerings if needed to meet the criteria. But Bill Reed was unwilling to work with us towards helping us find qualifications. Bill stated he did not want to award another grant within the same development because it benefited the same landlord, yet later, businesses in that same development still received grant funding. He also described our food and beverage services as merely an accessory to the play space, despite later grants being awarded to businesses that were not food related at all. The URA created a one-time special assistance grant for another business because it was believed to provide community and downtown benefits. To me, this demonstrates the URA had flexibility and discretion when it chose to exercise it. Yet Happy Play was never given that same opportunity for consideration, despite also providing a community-centered space alongside food and beverage services. At this point, I still don't know whether my application even went through the same formal review and approval process as other applicants, or whether Bill Reed independently determined that we did not qualify. After my experience, combined with the ongoing public concern surrounding audits, urban renewal oversight, and the concentration of authority within city administration, I believe these matters deserve independent review and greater transparency. I am requesting clarification regarding whether Happy Play's application received the same review process used for other applicants, and if it did not, that appropriate corrective actions now be considered. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, I have Patty, I think it's Perrin online. You want to come off mute? You have 2 minutes.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, Mayor Dunbrow, members of the City Council. My name is Patty Perrin. I live just outside North Plains, in the North Plains zip code, but I would be directly impacted by the proposed 550-acre industrial expansion, and I'm here to oppose it. My concerns start with the loss of farmland, but they go further. As a Washington County taxpayer, I'm troubled by the tax abatements offered to incoming businesses, which divert revenue from the county and Oregon public schools. Under the enterprise zone, companies receive abatements for at least 5 years. Mr. Reed holds up Hillsborough as his model, yet Hillsborough is now stacking abatements for up to 25 years. He also takes personal credit for the e-commerce property tax credit, North Plains only program he lobbied for, using city funds, one that redirects your tax dollars to data centers and industries with no real reason to be in a rural community. Most alarming is the financial burden this places on the city. No cost analysis has ever been done. Retired city planner Ron Bunch found transportation and water infrastructure alone would run approximately $200 million with no way for the city to pay for it. That is not economic development, it's fiscal financial mismanagement. But the math doesn't get better. The AMSL warehouse generates just $22,000 a year in tax revenue. You need 45 of them, 450 acres to produce $1 million. Mr. Reed is a real estate economist, so he knows this. So we must ask, whose interests is he actually serving? I urge the council to relieve Mr. Reed of his duties and hire a city manager committed to the fiscal health, long-term well-being, and desires of this community, who overwhelmingly voted against an expansion in 2024.
Fine. So Do we have Commissioner Willie here, or is he on?
He's way back there.
Oh, come on up, sir.
Sorry, I just wanted, excuse me, Mayor Dunbrow, could I speak? This is Lori Furrow. I was,
Already passed public comment time. I called on you. We need to move on. Thank you. All right, so now we have an update for District 4 from County Commissioner Willie.
Thank you very much, Mayor and City Councilors. It's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate you giving me this time, especially with all of the audience participation. I applaud your willingness to give 19 people the opportunity to speak to you. We don't allow that in our county meetings, and so I applaud you for being able to listen to your constituents. First thing up is I'm hoping that everyone has already voted. And tomorrow is your deadline by 8 o'clock, so please get your ballots in. And it's a very, very important election, especially for District 4. This is my district. I am not running for re-election. There are 6 people running for this position, so we may not know until November who your next county commissioner will be for District 4. But with that being said, I'm hoping everyone in this room and certainly on in listening would make sure that they vote and choose their next county commissioner. Number one item that we've been spending a considerable amount of time on as county commission, of course, is our budget. This is budget season. Our budget dropped on April 27th. It's $2+ billion. It's over 600 pages. We have worked very hard to make sure that this is a transparent and open conversation, that if anyone has any concerns about the budget or has questions about the budget, they can do that. We've had a budget meeting specifically for electeds. We followed up with a community open house, inviting anyone that wanted to come and have questions. I can't say that they were very well attended, either one of them, but we certainly wanted to make that opportunity. We've had all-day budget meetings last week, and we have 2 more this week. And hopefully we'll be able to wrap that up by Friday. We have a very active budget committee made up of several individuals who are not elected, and they are very engaged. So I'm very happy with this process. Our budget over the last, this is my 8th year as county commissioner. In 7 of those 8 years, we have significant budget cuts, and this is one of the easier years. We still have budget financial shortfalls, of course, and there are a number of items that we will have to deal with. And so I'll leave it at that, so I won't get into too much. I want to hold it to my 20 minutes or less. On a happy note, about a month ago, I went to the sheriff's office that is on Murray, our East Precinct, and was able to witness our new drone as a first responder program. And this is where we are going to be using drones throughout the county to actually provide us with information much earlier, much faster. We can send a drone to get to a location much faster than we can send a deputy in a car. And the drone also has the ability to give us a much different perspective and certainly see what is going on. We have had several instances already where we were able to apprehend or at least mitigate the situation. And certainly we're very excited about where this program is going to go. We are working with the cities. We will have possibly drone locations, probably 3 of them in the county, where we will have drones stationed there. We have deputies who are trained in drone, and we have 2 cars that have drones in them, and so they can deploy them immediately. And I think we've got just a couple of really shining examples as to how they help us distribute staff, send people if they need it, or maybe not. And so when we put a deputy on the road in an emergency crisis, they're obviously going very fast. And they put themselves at risk, and it's not a good situation. So drones are gonna be very cool. It's the new technology, and so stay tuned. We'll certainly make sure that you get plenty of information on that. North Plains is not in Metro, but certainly our homeless situation in the Tri-County area impacts everyone out here in the region. I am on the Supportive Housing Regional Policy and Oversight Committee. This is a new committee that where we combined two committees from the first 3 or 4 years into one committee. There's about 21 of us on that, both an equal number of electeds. I think there's one more elected than there are nonprofit organizations. We are working through how we can not only make sure that the Tri-County region is consistent in how it deals with our homeless community, but also that we have certain standards, and we call them KPIs, key performance indicators, and KEIs, K environmental indicators, that will measure what successes or what lack of success that we have. It's going to be very important. This SHS money is only available until 2031, and so we will have until then to make sure that we have done everything we can to help with our homeless community. As you know, we are spending a lot of money on that, so it's got to be successful. On a much higher and happier note, Salmonberry Trail, as you know, starts in Banks and is 82 miles, ends up in Tillamook. Washington County has about 27 miles of that trail, and we are working very hard on getting some trail development between Banks and Stubb Stewart Park for right now. We have lots and lots of volunteers that come out every week to help us clear more trail, help us pick up anything that's not supposed to be out there, and certainly provide us with support, because that's what we're going to be needing to get that trail developed. It's about $800,000 a mile. So we have got a Herculean lift to try and get that developed. And certainly we've got some baby steps that we're going to be doing between here and Stubb Stewart Park. On the other side of the mountain in Tillamook, Garibaldi, Wheeler, they all have, it's a little bit of a different issue. From Garibaldi to Wheeler, they have an active train. If you've been on the Oregon Coast Scenic Railway, that goes from Garibaldi to Wheeler, and they are certainly very happy to be there, but it does cause some issues because the trail runs right alongside that railroad. We have been able to develop some part of Wheeler, downtown Wheeler. They've been very supportive of that, and so that's, again, we do this in baby steps because of the financial cost, but also just because we want to make sure it gets done right, and we hear what the general public wants for a trail there. It's going to be probably, we think it's going to be nationally recognized as we move ahead. Now, that's a few years out, and I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to get to walk on that trail. That's how far out it is, but certainly we're excited about that. We have some priorities that we have. Courthouse replacement. Our courthouse is 100 years old. We had a meeting today with judges to just physically be in the courthouse, find out how small of a confinement. This room probably would house 4 courtrooms at the size that we have right now. Very, very small. And so technology plays an important part of that. But the courthouse definitely needs to be replaced. We were able to get $1.25 million from legislature last year for planning. And so planning will probably go 3 or 4 years before we're able to really start drawing pictures as to what the new courthouse will look like or where that courthouse will be. So we've got a lot of work to do out ahead of us, but we're pretty excited about that. Jail expansion, we're also working on a jail expansion. Washington County has per capita the smallest jail in the state of Oregon. That's per capita. We have 600,000+ people. But when you compare it to a Multnomah County or even a Clackamas County, Both of them have new courthouses, so that has helped them tremendously. Our jail expansion is moving ahead. We have got, we've been spending quite a bit of time on that, and we certainly have engaged the community to tell us what they think what needs to be done, and our public safety community. I'm very proud of our sheriff's office because we have, they are very well respected, and I think we have the safest county certainly around for public safety. Very happy about that. Last Saturday, I don't know if any one of you knew this or attended this, K9 Trials was at the Hillsborough Stadium. That's a phenomenal event. It is so well attended that they have several thousand people who come and see how our trained dogs work. And it's quite a competition. It's a lot of fun. So we're happy to do that annually. As you know, July 4th is our country's 250th anniversary, and we're excited to have that. The Hillsborough Parade will, of course, be promoting that. North Plains has a great parade. I haven't heard anything about that particularly yet, but always pleased when I hear that you're prioritizing that for our July 4th celebration. Washington County Fair is July 24th to August 2nd, of course, at the fairgrounds. Got lots of entertainment and activities going on there. Last year was the largest year we've ever had. Well over 100,000 people attend that in 10 days. And we have 4-H and FFA, of course, involved with that. So we have lots of animals and kids that are out there promoting and supporting our agricultural community. And so if you get some time, it's free. No excuse for not paying for a ticket. And so lots of things going on there. I know that you have your annual Elephant Garlic Festival on August 7th, 8th, and 9th. That is also on my calendar. North Plains Friends of the Library Book Sale, August 5th to 10th. I've been in your library. It's a great little library and very happy that this community has it. I have the same with Banks. They have a small library there, and it's just fun that we were able to pass the library levy and get some more funding for even for our small libraries. And then I heard talk about tonight about the food bank. You also have an excellent food bank. I haven't been in, it's been about a year since I was there, but I was impressed of the passion and the commitment that the people that are running the food bank have for those who certainly need the produce and the products that the food bank provides. So congratulations on that. You're doing a great job. So I love coming through North Plains. I noticed that you put a speed limit sign out on, is that Faber?
Gordon.
Yeah, Gordon.
You're welcome.
The
That was
reason-
for you, sir.
The reason why I said Faber is because the only way I remembered is Gordon Faber, who was the former mayor of Hillsborough. But anyway, out on Gordon Road, I thought that was an excellent. I actually go that way to one of my favorite pastimes out here on the other side of town, and that's been good. So good job on that. That was, and that intersection there and everything. It's great. So in spite of the challenges you have, which you do, small communities, if you look at Banks, they're also struggling with some of their growth and opportunities. But I applaud you for your willingness to listen and encourage you to find some middle ground, happy spot somewhere in there if you can do that. So thank you, Mayor and Council. Appreciate being here.
Thank you, Commissioner. Appreciate it, and enjoy, well, eventually being able to go play more golf.
Yeah, well, that's the plan, 7 months out. I don't know what I'm gonna get accomplished between now and then, but it'd be nice to have a little trail out here in Salmonberry, but that's probably not gonna happen. So, and I'm open to any questions. I don't know how much time I used up, but.
Questions, council, comments? Council Warrington? We have one of mine.
Thank you for your presentation. I appreciate it. I'm very interested in the Salmonberry Trail, so thank you for your work in that area.
Absolutely, and I think I will probably continue to join that organization after my retirement. This is my third retirement, so it's time.
At some point, you actually do have to retire, sir.
That's what my wife tells me. I know that, and I plan on this.
All right.
All right.
Good call. Thank you, Commissioner.
Bet.
All right. Next up, we have Robin with the library.
Good evening. Good evening, City Council. First of all, I have something to show you, which is our summer reading T-shirts have arrived for staff and volunteers. And they're really cute this year. Plant a seed, read.
Nice. Feel like that's a plug for volunteers?
Well, it wasn't meant to be. I just wanted to show off the shirt, as a, teaser for summer reading. Remember, it starts June 1st. We'll be tabling at the ice cream social as usual, for a convenient opportunity for kids to sign up. And we have our Washington County Cooperative Library Services staff joining us with some special 50th anniversary swag, 50th anniversary of the cooperative. And then just one more thing that I did include in my report, I was a little bit remiss leaving it out. Not counting from her current position, but from her first date of employment with us at the library of the city, Brianna Sawinski had just had her 10th anniversary working for the city of North Plains. Her current librarian anniversary is in September, but her actual date of employment, she just has 10 years. She was first a part-time library assistant with us, and she applied for our librarian opening and was our most successful candidate, having got her master's and worked with the community. And she does a phenomenal job. She's a lifelong learner. She's doing leadership training, and I just want to give her a congratulations for 10 years working for your community.
Amazing.
And I will stand for any questions to my report.
Questions? Comments? Well, please pass on our congratulations to Brianna. It's amazing. And yeah, I don't have any questions. Oh, just go ahead, Counselor.
Counselor Weber, at Pilates School had a little party last Friday. Emily was there, did a wonderful job of kind of kicking off the summer reading program, got my granddaughters enthused. So that was a great kind of kickoff for the summer reading. So thanks. That was
Yes,
awesome.
excellent. We do try to go to those school events, and we will be going to the North Plains Elementary one on the 29th as well.
Counselor Warren.
I just want to say that shirt is super cute. So good job on that. Thank you.
Yes, oh yes, of course. I wish I had designed it, but thank you.
It's cute.
All right. And I'll just remind everyone, from the report, there are 2 library board positions open. So if you are interested in helping out with the library, that's a great way to get involved. It's always a fun time, and Robin does run a very good meeting.
I do my best. Thank you.
All right. And I think next up is Chief O'Reilly.
Council. The cute shirts off of anybody that available for any questions you may have on the staff report. I don't have anything to add on my staff report.
Any questions, comments, Council?
Hey there, Councilor Birthday. I just had a quick question. I know we've had a lot of discussion during budget session last week about police and coverage. And, I had heard an anecdote from someone regarding police response time for maybe domestic disturbance. And I was driving down North Avenue the other night, and I noticed there was a City of Cornelius contract deputy, and then looks like someone from Washington County, presumably after the time we had someone on duty here in North Plains. And it made me wonder, and if you can't tell me, it's okay, but it made me wonder if it's required to have 2 deputies respond for a domestic disturbance type of call. And,
Yes,
and the
basically.
impact that would have for, potential response time.
Required in the sense that it is our standard procedure. Domestic violence calls are the most dangerous call that we respond to. So yes, it's required by our procedure.
Okay, and thank you for clarifying that, because then I was thinking about, okay, well, let's just say we did add a 4th FTE. would we really see, a quicker response time for a domestic disturbance that happens at 11 p.m. if we're having to wait for someone out on the west end or Cornelius to come respond in partnership with the North Plains deputy?
There will still be a quicker initial response time. A deputy will respond typically to a domestic violence or any call that we would have a standard to multiple deputy response. There will be an initial response immediately, and that officer doesn't have to wait if there is some sort of an incident that requires an immediate response. If the deputy perceives or sees an incident that he needs to or she needs to respond to immediately, they won't just stand there and wait and not respond because there's not a second deputy with them. If it is to everyone's advantage, they will wait. But there will be, if we have a fourth deputy, we have an officer in town outside of the hours that we normally respond to, there will be a faster and immediate response. There just may be a little, the call may take a little longer for that second officer to come from out of town.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. And I also just wanted to say, congratulations and great job. I attended the K9 trials, and you did a great job hosting that event, so.
I appreciate it. The weather didn't cooperate, but we had a good time.
Awesome. Any other questions, comments? I'm just gonna say I missed the mustache, come on.
My wife does not miss.
All right, she wins, but I thought it was awesome. I was disappointed. I saw it in your report, there's an uptick in calls, but no trends, and I love trends, so I was hoping there would be one.
I love trends as well, because then it's easy to respond.
Yes, exactly. Then we
There's
can
no trend that makes it difficult to
That's
understand.
weird.
How we can, how we can attack it, but yeah, there were no specific trends.
Okay, no, it's just an odd thing, but it is what it is. I mean, obviously, we're doing the right thing, tracking it, it's just weird. Maybe, yes, it's the warmer weather, that's the trend. Okay, thank you, Jake, appreciate it. Next up. What's that? You like trends. I love trends. And next up is Dustin with Public Works.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Dustin Lucanati, Public Works Director. I do not have anything else to add to my report either, and I am open for questions.
Questions, comments? Appreciate the mustache. I actually do have one question, and it's not super critical. I was just curious. Did you put chlorine residual fluctuations? Is that normal with seasonal water use? I just don't know about water, so I was just curious what it meant.
It does happen from time to time, and I did note in the report that the water is still safe to drink.
Right.
But whenever the weather gets hotter, it kind of messes with the, the kind of the heat and everything inside the reservoirs just kind of changes everything. And so it's just one of those things that has happened just because of the placement of the reservoir so far away from our connection to JWC. And that kind of goes into some of the future projects that we have going. And we might have to supplement potentially with additional chlorine, which kind of adds other layers to my guys' certifications and things like that in the future. So these are things that I have to be planning and looking forward to. And Northwest Natural Water is helping us out with that by contacting and getting with OHA about some of this.
Okay, I was just curious because I've never seen that, and it was interesting. Okay, anything else? All right, it's gonna be for the meeting. Thanks.
Thank you.
Next up is community development. Is Bill online or Bill, you're coming for it?
Someone's online.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see that.
Actually, Mayor, point of order, please.
Oh, sorry, I missed something.
You did.
Oh.
Under City Council Rules, Section E, Council Discussion on a Quorum, subsection 4C. In your rules. Abusive and harassing comments that could lead to the creation of a hostile work environment for city employees required to attend city council meetings likewise unduly interferes with the council's ability to conduct its business and are therefore prohibited. This evening, public comment was made to the effect of Rowan harassing somebody by taking photos as part of the course of city business, inspecting purported code violations. Rowan should not feel threatened or impeded in their course of business of doing that by the nature of comments that are made in this meeting. So I would just remind you, you can comment on that, demand better or different comment. So there you go. And turn it over to Ron.
Real quick before we do that, I will follow city attorney on that as well. Since it's a rules thing. Okay, sorry, back to you, Ron.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I have only positive things to add to my staff report. Since that publishing, I was able to complete the Travel Oregon Tourism Boot Camp. It was a great experience to connect with our local destination management organization, Explore Tualatin Valley, and we will be looking forward to more collaboration with them in the future to help bring important tourism dollars to North Plains, as well as forwarding the downtown downtown improvement plan adopted in 2023. So excited opportunities coming our way. And with that, I am open for questions.
I don't have any questions. Good report though, and glad to see that we're starting to see some upticks in I think he said in solar, which is good because with the price of fuel and electric, I can imagine lots of people are going to want to start trying to save some money. So hopefully that is a good thing. Okay, I think next up, oh, does anybody have any questions for 3J? Sorry, I forgot to ask. 3J? No? Okay. With that, we'll turn back to Bill for finance.
Thank you, Mayor. I do not have anything to add to the finance report. That topic was beaten to death, as well as a number of other topics at the budget committee meeting last week. If you have any follow-up questions regarding any of that, I'm happy to address or follow up with, but otherwise nothing to add. So thank you.
Any specifics? Finance? Council Warrington? None? Okay. Perfect. So with that, we are, wait. I'm going to call a 5-minute recess, 3-minute recess. We'll be back at 8:19. So everybody can have a quick bio. Okay, ready? Okay, we are back in session. We'll be moving on to resolutions, which we have 4. So first is resolution 2341. There's a staff report. Bill, do you want to add anything, or is, I think staff report is pretty clear?
No, I mean, I guess what. Pardon me, I'm having trouble reading the closed captioning bar again, so that people's faces show better. Might have to just change the shape of it, sorry about that. But anyway, 2341 again is the contract with, I'll have to figure this out after I get done talking, sorry. 2341 resolution, if you approve it, if you adopt it, allows me to sign a contract as it's in the packet with Marina and Company to formally through the end of FY 27, so that would be through January 30th, 2027. Basically, do a wide variety of assistance, everything from audit preparation to daily and monthly accounting reporting, sort of like they're helping now, but a bit more formally, including taking over monthly finance reports. You had Matt Atkin here with Marina talk about different options for different information in the report, so that would be them doing that as well. The value of the contract exceeds my signatory authority, as we talked about during the work session. And so it's before you for your review and authorization by adoption of this resolution, if that's the will of council.
Okay, so I'm gonna just go around the room. So we'll start with Councilor Warrington, just like everybody to give their input, and then I'll entertain motion after that. So Councilor Warrington, any comments, thoughts, questions?
My only comment here is that, I looked at it. I'm not sure that I'm in favor of a Marina contract at this point. I think that we should be focusing more on a financial director as a FTE or a city employee instead of farming it out in piecemeal. So that would be my recommendation.
Councilor Ford.
Thank you. Bill, appreciate you working with Marina.
I didn't see the URA audit in Marina's scope document, and I just wanted to be clear that they would also assist us with the URA audit.
Councilor DeForest, that's correct. So, to get into the weeds a little bit, every city audit includes the URA as a fund. And they're actively already working on that in particular, the separate. So URA audit's part of the city audit as a fund. And then there's a separate standalone. And so, and by virtue of that, yes, both of those things.
Good. Okay, Councilor DeGarcia.
Thank you, Councilor Ugarte. I am in support of this. I will add that I don't know exactly how many months we had a finance director position open, and we did not have any qualified candidates or candidates that were able to work in person that only wanted remote work. So I personally think that this is a stepping stone. I don't want this to be a forever thing, but I think right now to kind of course correct where we've landed, I think this is the best case scenario.
Thank you. Councilor Weber. Gotcha, other directions. Councilor Weber.
This looks good. Marina seems like they've done excellent job for us. Giving them more works makes sense. My only thing would be, I would like to hear from them. Ideally, I presume they would come each month. The one question I'd like to hear from them is, in terms of the audit, does this contract give them the ability to get us up to date by when, maybe the end of the calendar, whatever? I would just like to hear more from them of how this enables them to do it, but I'm supportive of this. Yes.
That's where you're on.
I'm in full support. Let's run, and I'm hoping, just like Councilor Weber suggested, I'm hoping that we can see them more and hear from them more in terms of concrete action items, deliverables, timelines, etc.
Good. With that, I'll entertain.
Councilor DeForest, I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2341 Marina contract.
Councilor Hagedorn here, I second.
Okay, so Councilor DeForest moves to adopt resolution 2341. Councilor Hagedorn seconds. Because this is a finance resolution, Lori, would you please call the roll, just to be clear?
We will. Thank you. Councilor Hagedorn,
Yay.
Councilor Warrington,
I guess yay. I'm opposed, but I'll say yay. I have questions, comments, but I'll say yay.
okay, Councilor DeForest,
Yes.
Councilor Ugarte,
Yay.
Councilor Weber,
Okay.
and Mayor Dumbrell.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Motion carries unanimously. Resolution 2341 is adopted. Resolution 2342. So as everyone should be aware by now, Councilor Redding needed to resign for personal reasons. We'd ask to keep her in your prayers. And just appreciate whether you agree with her or not, that she did sign up for a difficult job, and so she will be missed, and she's still a member of our community. So let's try to make sure that we give her privacy, but also keep her in our thoughts and prayers. So with that, I will entertain a motion on resolution 2342.
Councilor Hagedorn here, I move, but can I ask a quick question? Can we, before I move, can we articulate or read out loud the timeline, in case there's,
What timeline?
when the opportunity, when
When it gets posted?
when it's posted, when we'll be
That's a
interviewing,
great question.
et cetera,
I
et
think
cetera.
Bill's ready to answer that question.
Our mayor was a little too fast.
Sorry, my bad.
No, it's okay. He's making up time then.
Yeah.
I was about to actually just ask if I can do that.
Please do.
For those in the audience and for those who are viewing and for those who go back and look through all of this, with the adoption of this resolution, you announce former council Redding seat vacant, and you authorize the city recorder and I to notice this in the paper. We will let the paper know by their deadline Friday, which means that the notice will be published Friday, May 29th, a week from this Friday. By municipal code, it has to be published for 2 weeks. There has to be a 2-week time frame, which means that Monday, June 15th is the soonest city council meeting you all can review applicants and approve somebody to city council for the vacant seat. And that then means July 6th is the earliest date to swear in a new city councilor. If folks are interested in applying for the position, we'll accept applications following we can start technically, but really it's with the notice to make it legal.
29th.
On the 29th of May. And then people are welcome to apply if they meet the conditions of are a resident within the city limits of North Plains. They have lived here for at least a year prior to applying the date of application. And they are registered to vote in the state of Oregon. Those 3 conditions have to be met to be a qualified applicant for the vacancy. But we have to, and we will accept applications through Friday. Is it the 12th?
June 12th at noon.
June 12th at noon. We'll accept applications through then. And then we will put that in the packet and you'll get it. And Monday, the 15th of June, you'll get to talk to them and make a decision.
Thank you. That said, I move to adopt resolution 2342 to determine and declare a vacancy on North Plains City Council.
Councilor Hagedorn moves to adopt 2342. Do I have a second?
Councilor Ugarte, I'll second.
Councilor Ugarte seconds. All those in favor, aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, I'll slow down on this one. Sorry about that. The next, and this one is either Bill or Emily for the 2343 on amending of the rules.
I mean, I can. I mean, if you have questions, Mayor, with Emily there, but she can kind of dig into it, but procedurally, 2343 resolution, if approved, would amend city council rules in a very minor way in a single location in the council rules. But basically, the amendment to the rules you discussed at your last city council meeting, and what you discussed and what was landed upon was that if any of you as individual city councilors required or wanted to get data from another public agency, that can happen. An individual city councilor can do that if one of two conditions are met. One, they've been designated by you as a body to reach out to that public agency for the data, or they get that information in their role representing the city ex officio duties with that agency. WACA, MAC, other agencies, you all individually go to those meetings, and that information can be had by an individual councilor. But the intent of sharing with the whole body so that you all are working with the same information at the same time. And that amendment to the city council rules is simply it's basically one paragraph under section G1, section G, subsection 1, subsection C. There's just a minor paragraph there that adds that language.
So, is everybody?
Question.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Sir, Mayor.
Councilor Hagedorn.
Is Councilor Hagedorn here? Is Emily on the phone? Okay, so my question is, so just for the record, I support the intention, but I just don't want to make sure that we unintentionally limit council's ability to independently understand issues before us, right? So can somebody answer and distinguish for me, what does ordinary informational conversations, how do you distinguish between information gathering and official, just between gathering information versus officially representing the city? I can repeat that.
Yes, please. Thank you. This is Emily.
How do we distinguish between gathering information versus officially representing the city?
So I think that those, like, you can either gather information while you're representing the city, or you can gather information while you're not representing the city. So I guess they're separate concepts and you can do one or the other. So to gather information on behalf of the city or while you're officially representing the city would require is the only way you can gather information under this rule in your capacity as a counselor from another governmental agency.
So with this, just for clarification, with this rule, would counselors still be able to, would this remove the ability to independently contact Metro, ODOT, DCLCD, Washington County for informational purposes? That's what this rule essentially does, correct?
Yes, in your official capacity as a counselor.
Okay. Thank you.
Mayor Dunbar.
So Councilor Ford, sorry.
So first I want to thank Councilor Hagedorn for bringing this forward, but I would encourage us, I think this rule is too broad, and I would encourage us to narrow it down before we approve this resolution.
Narrow to what?
Reduce the scope of the language. So for example, just toss out a friendly amendment might be, the council cannot use government information for personal gain. So that way it doesn't create extra work burden on staff by making them be intermediaries.
Okay, any other questions, comments?
I do have one other question, sorry, Councilor Hagedorn here. Have we, has anybody done any pulse tests with any other neighboring cities to see how they handle this issue?
That would be the question. I would defer to Emily, who is aware or actively involved in the legal issues of other cities.
So, I have not, I guess I'm not aware of any other cities' actions in response to the breach that was discussed at the last council meeting that sort of generated this conversation. I think it was it WACA? Yeah. So I'm not aware of what other cities are doing in response to that. It's my understanding that WACA specifically reached out to its member cities to address this specific issue. I will say that I think that, as we discussed last time, I think that because the council is only able to act as a body, that I'm not sure this rule actually really constrains counselors more than just the council manager form of government does, because you may only act as a member of the body, so you may only gather information in your official capacity if you are granted that authority as a member, or by the council as a body, I should say. So I'm happy to work with you to rewrite the rule, but I don't know that the specifics will actually affect your ability to solicit or gather information from other governmental entities in an official capacity anyway.
Any other questions, comments?
Counselor Weber, for me, I would say it's needlessly restrictive. I wouldn't mind, as Counselor DeFord said, if we want to give it a little more parameters, but I don't think this type of resolution is needed. Thank you.
Councilor Ugarte.
Thank you, Councilor Ugarte. I had a quick question for Emily, just out of curiosity, and we're speaking in hypotheticals, but let's assume, I'm gonna use Mayor Dumbrau as an example here, but let's just assume Mayor Dumbrau contacts a government agency and says, hey, this is Aaron Dumbrau. I was curious if you could tell me a little bit more about XYZ. And he's not stating, hey, with the city of North Plains, but his name is recognized by a member of that agency, and then they make that assumption and they're like, oh, well, it's the mayor of North Plains. We should get this information. That scenario is personally what makes me feel uncomfortable with not drawing a line in the sand and having this clause in here. So I was just hoping maybe you could play devil's advocate of that scenario.
Yeah, I would say that this is an issue that you as a counselor probably deal with regularly, I would assume. And my advice is whenever you're speaking like that, not in a personal one-on-one conversation or introducing yourself in a personal situation, but otherwise, my advice is to state whether you are acting in your individual capacity or on behalf of the city. That's true when you're, representing yourself in a public place, such as a campaign event or some other event in the community. That's my advice generally, is to say, look, I'm here in my personal capacity tonight. These thoughts are my own versus, and I believe there's actually a provision about that in your council rules also, although I don't have them in front of me, or I don't have that particular one in front of me right now. But that would be my advice in that situation, is to
Okay, thank you.
identify, which role you're in.
Thank you. And I think, just to add my own personal, in my opinion, scenario, I personally would like to have this added to the council rules. I think, I'm always going to assume positive intent in my peers, but we have a fairly new council. There's a lot of scenarios that you might not think about and can create a lot of risk. And again, I think everyone has the best of intentions, but I think having a really clear guideline and policy in place can ultimately protect us as a city. The other scenario is there's been alleged, information circulating regarding members of this dais asking for information. And I just personally would not feel comfortable not having this rule within our council rules.
Okay. I will say I agree with Councilor Garcia on this. I think clear and objective is always helpful. This simply clarifies what has already been a longstanding policy. So I think it is helpful, because if we don't clarify things, then people find trucks right through loopholes. With that, Councilor Warrington, any further?
I would just like to say, I think this is a bit broad as well. I would like to have it narrowed down a bit, as other counselors has mentioned, only so that to protect myself from somebody saying, geez, Councilor Warrington came in and we talked, and then she brought something up at council meeting and I told her that, it could spiral way out of control with the wording that it's as now. So I would like to see it just tightened up a bit, just for a counselor's protection.
Just one point of clarification, this actually only refers to conversations with external government agencies, but understand.
Right, understood.
So with that, I will entertain a motion. Or
I was trying to scroll up. I'm gonna throw it out there, but Councilor Ugarte, I'm looking for the resolution numbers, scrolling.
343.
Okay, Councilor Ugarte, I move to approve resolution number 2343, amending council rules.
Okay. Councilor Ugarte moves to approve 2343. Do I have a second? I second. Mayor seconds. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Okay, motion fails for 4-2. Yeah, okay. Moving on to updating the city 2344.
Point of order clarification here. So is there a next step on this motion?
You bring it up during council comments.
Okay.
2344. on, it says social media policy, sorry. Bill, is this you or is this Emily?
Yeah.
All right, I can.
Yeah, right, just procedurally, so 2344 at your last meeting, in your last meeting with Emily, a variety of updates to the existing social media best practices guidelines were discussed, and the result of that conversation is the updated social media policy that you all have for consideration with this resolution for adoption. And just to kind of point out, the big changes are pretty much everything in here was updated to be more compliant with the League of Oregon Cities guidelines on this. The city had already made a decision to not allow comments on city posts, because if there are comments, it's a First Amendment public speech forum. And that actually gets very time intensive if you're talking about something controversial, when you're really just meaning to share information. You don't intend for it to be a big discussion. And you have to reply to that and deal with that. So that League of Oregon Cities has recommended that comments be turned off. The city's done that. And so guidelines no longer have to have how do you respond to comments, handle comments. And then there's just a bunch of different kinds of cleanup, clarification of language, and as well as naming staff by job description, by title name, for who's responsible for what elements of social media work, instead of the actual names of the employees, so that you don't have to have an update every time we change. If somebody leaves the city or gets hired. So that pretty much sums up the changes to the policy, and it's up for your adoption by resolution.
Okay, any comments or motions?
Councilor Ford.
Councilor Ford.
To adopt resolution 2344, updates of the city social media policy.
Councilor Ford moves to adopt 2344. Do I have a second?
Councilor Hagedorn, second.
Councilor Hagedorn seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Motion carries. All right. And now we move on to unfinished business. So now we have Councilor Ford, GGB PAC meeting and council representation update.
Thank you, Mayor. I have an update. We attended a PAC meeting, and I would like to reference a memo prepared by city staff. It's called draft memo number 3. It's on the city website, and I have hard copies to make council review a little bit easier. These are just maps that are on the city website. What I wanted to share with you is I was a little bit concerned about that we may not have alignment between the direction I heard from Sunset Ridge, community feedback, council feedback, and the current project direction, specifically the economic, commercial, industrial land use expansion next to Sunset Ridge, which currently its most likely economic use is data centers. So I wanted to make sure I'm in alignment with the team so that I can represent you guys correctly at future PAC meetings.
Good, so I'll say on that one, I believe we already sent that to planning commission to ask them to change the code, so there would be no data center authorization to the code. We told them to change the code, so.
Yep, thank you, Mayor Dunbra, that is correct. So zoning codes can change. What I'm specifically focused on is the UGB expansion to support the commercial area seems inconsistent with the council direction and community feedback.
Okay.
So I would like to make sure I'm in alignment, because at this point we have 3 concepts and all the commercial industrial is 350 acres plus, which concerns me because of how they meet the economic use. Councilor Weber, you attended the relook and you were also my backup. Do you have any feedback you'd like to share with me?
My concern is that it looks to me like the concepts are basically three adaptations of the original relook. 520, 530, with a large amount of commercial. And my concern is, for me, it does not represent what the citizens say they would support. And it doesn't represent what I support. So I'm concerned about the narrowness of the options. They feel to me like they're three very similar adaptations of the relook and doesn't give much flexibility. And to me, does not respond to what the people of North Plains say they want for their city. So to me, at this point, it doesn't feel very productive where we're headed with this.
Councilor Warrington.
I have looked at all three options, and there's a fourth option kind of rolling around. I think that the Planning Commission created, but it's not official. I'm going to say all four are kind of the same outline, where they have the purple area over by Sunset Ridge that is hundreds of acres dedicated to that commercial industrial bucket. I know it hasn't been zoned again, but that's what it looks like it's for, is commercial and industrial. I don't think that this is what North Plains is looking for. We've heard several people talk about how they are not aligned with this. We've gone through this huge thing before with the voting. They don't want hundreds of acres for commercial and industrial that could be turned into data centers. Maybe not, but they very well could be. And everybody is then asking, why do we need 300 plus acres for commercial industrial when we're struggling to get small businesses working here in North Plains? So it doesn't make a lot of sense for that large of a swath to have be included in this UGB for commercial industrial, my point of view.
Thank you, Councilor Ugarte.
Thank you, Councilor Ugarte. I have a lot of thoughts regarding this. I have heard both sides from residents, and I feel like there's so much misinformation and confusion that is circulated that everyone is on a different page. And I just want to take a step back to really reflect and also verify that whatever meeting we had last year, there was a discussion regarding Hillsborough crossing over 26, and for lack of a better word, land grab. That section of Jackson School interchange. And so that was my understanding of why that section was going to be prioritized. And I could be wrong. My memory serves me incorrectly. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to the next counselor, but I'll pause there.
Okay, Councilor Hagedorn.
It sounds like there's a desire for dialogue by the council on this topic, and right now this is an informed, but is there an opportunity for us to add an agenda item to the next
To what end?
meeting
What
to
decision?
discuss this, and if this is something that we want to continue?
Mayor Dunbro, could I jump in?
No, hold on.
Okay.
What are you trying, what decision do you want made?
Well, actually, I think people want to talk about this. I think counselors want to have dialogue. So this is an informed. Is there an opportunity for us to come back and add to an agenda for us to have a discussion, an extended discussion, to update on the status, where we're at, what decisions will come before us, et cetera?
I believe that's gonna be in city manager report, but I'll pass it to Bill.
For the scope of this project, you'll have a joint work session with the planning commission on June 10th.
Okay.
To go over all this. And just as far as I mean, I can kind of give some clarifications about some things now, I feel like, since this is the topic, but the scope of this project is basically just to get some kind of idea from the public about a concept plan for future growth. Given that the vote in May of 2024 said no to that big expansion, but what does that mean? Some people, no growth at all, some people, not that much. Some people, not by me, but over there is fine. Like, there's a bunch of different reasons why people voted no. So this process is to try to get an idea of what the concept is that the public here would support. So I would encourage you to do these scenarios as the first take on trying to gauge how people feel about different things. And in the next few weeks, there will be a bunch of public outreach to just kind of learn more, starting with a smaller expansion concept or variety of ways of looking at it. There is no, like, this isn't leading to a decision about how the boundary is going to expand. It's just trying to get the outreach and input that in order to just kind of know how people are feeling about it. So I would encourage you to look at, these are just kind of the first three concepts that kind of get at what's been done so far in this process.
So I'll do some input here. So first of all, just bring it back to the agenda item. This is just an update from Councilor DeForge, and then for us to give him guidance on things, you know, how we want the council represented at the meeting. I'll also point out that there is currently, nor is there in any time in the near future going to be anything about this on the agenda, unless council wants to put something on the agenda, because there's no decision to be made, because all land use decisions must originate with the planning commission. So it has to go through planning commission, then it has to come to us. We'll have a joint work session, we'll have a conversation with the planning commission. We've already sent to planning commission, asked them to update the code. So again, there are a lot of steps here. This is all part of the process. Also point out that this was authorized by council to continue this process, to explore this. This doesn't have anything to do with anyone other than the council who authorized it. So we made the choice to look at the plan, to make a plan, and then make a decision on what direction we wanted to go. It's kind of hard to make a decision without a plan. So bring us back to the agenda item at hand. What we as council need to do then is there something we want Councilor DeForest to take to the next meeting? That is the question at hand. And with that, I'll open it up to council. If anybody would like to give specific direction to Councilor DeForest.
I would ask Councilor DeForge to ask if there could be a much broader range of options that could come up, such as all housing, no commercial, smaller amounts of housing, the kind of options that we've heard from the people that they might accept.
So that would require council consensus. So does council agree with that?
I'm aligned.
Councilor Warrington? You're muted, but I think you said yes. Okay, we got a thumbs up from Councilor Warrington. Okay. Councilor Warrington, actually, let's go to you. What would you, is there something else you'd like to have ask Councilor DeForge to take to the PGM meeting?
I'm sorry, you broke up a bit. Could you please repeat that?
Is there anything you would like to ask Councilor DeForest to take to the PGM committee that we can get council to agree on?
Pie in the sky. I'm wondering if we can remove most of the purple areas so that we can expand the city, but it isn't all for, or the large swath of industrial commercial could be removed. So
I think what you're asking is similar. Can we have, can we broaden the opportunities and maybe not have something with more housing? Is that what you're getting at?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, I think that's what council agreed to, unless I'm wrong. So I think Ron, I'm good with that.
Can I refine a suggestion? I'd like an option that would not allow development of data centers.
We've already done that. That's a moot point. It's already been sent to planning commission. Data centers aren't a part of the conversation. So let's table that conversation until planning commission brings this code, because that's what they're directed to do. That's how we develop code.
I understand your feedback. Let me just try one more time and then I'll move on. The planning zoning codes can be changed easily. And what I would like is UGB expansion that is consistent with the types of businesses that North Plains wants to see.
Again, you're talking about development code, which originates with the planning commission. We sent that to the planning commission, asked them to take care of that. So let's move on from that conversation, because that's been asked and answered. Councilor Ugarte, you had a comment? Or do you have a comment?
Go ahead, Councilor.
Becky.
Councilor Ugarte, you know, I think hearing Councilor DeForge, what I'm hearing from Councilor DeForge is you're looking for something regarding data centers or the lack of data centers. It's a little bit more bulletproof for future generations to come. Is that?
That's a great summary.
Okay. And I hear you, and I think that's a really important thing. And I don't know if I necessarily have a solution to making that bulletproof, but I will echo what Mayor Dunbar had mentioned, that this has already been a discussion that we've brought up with Planning Commission, and is in the works, is my understanding. The question I would just challenge you to bring to the TGM committee. I know you're a numbers guy, and really checking for understanding of what do residents understand if we develop a majority of residential versus commercial or industrial, because I know we've had so many discussions as a council regarding the tax basis and the tax burden residential adds to the city. And again, I know, you know, you were on the budget committee and we saw what the outlook looks like in the next 3 to 10 years for the city if we do not come up with a solution. So I would really just ask you to think through how to communicate that, because I think residents don't understand the bigger picture, and not for lack of trying, but I think, again, there's just a lot of information out there, and I think if residents were informed, hey, we hear you, we want more residential, okay, awesome, now we're gonna need to put out a local option levy, and no one wants more taxes either, so I think that's the part where we have to balance of, are you willing to pay for more residential in your property taxes, or are we willing to balance it with some form of commercial industrial with no data centers for our planning commission? So
Councilor, if I can clarify what you said, and then I'll get consensus. I think what you're saying is, can we expand what was originally said to also add in, can we work to explain the cost of, you know, what tax revenue residential brings in, what tax revenue commercial brings in, what tax revenue industrial brings in, that's what you're getting at?
correct, like what does that mean to a homeowner here
Yes,
in North Plains, right? Because I think, again, we've had many discussions about this as a council, but I think knowing it as a homeowner or as a resident, that you see those numbers and it might change your perspective on what you might want.
Councilor Warrington, good with that?
I think it's a start.
So yes,
Yes.
thank you, Councilor Weber. Good, Councilor Bigelow. Okay, I concur. So it sounds like the things that we want you to take back currently is expanded options, and also we're going to need the committee, the group, whatever it is, calling it now, to look at how much tax revenue does each type of thing bring in, whether it's residential, commercial, industrial, in those buckets, because those are the 3 typical buckets we deal with in zone. So let's add that. And you had another comment, and then I'll go to Councilor Agron next.
I just wanted to follow up on Councilor Agron's comment. I think I'm really aligned with what she's saying about, I guess what I would encourage us to do is to provide formality in terms of more structure so that the project is moving forward in a direction that we want. And I think that conversation should happen before the planning commission, because there will be more people in the room, it'll be confusing. I would prefer that we provide clarity to the staff so that we give them every opportunity to be successful.
Okay, Councilor Agron.
Agreed. this was an update, I would think that that would be a subsequent conversation as a council. So,
So
can you add that to an agenda? Or is that something that,
it's something that would need to go to a work session normally. I don't know, it's, if you want to add it to an agenda, we'll need something very specific to make a decision on. If you want to add it to a work session, the next work session we have is one planning commission. So I'm not sure how to solve the problem, is what I'm getting at.
I would love a work session. I know that's a favorite here, but I think that's something that would add some crystal clear guidelines, guardrails, expectations set, so we know what our role is in the decision making, if at all, as well as staff.
Council, congratulations. Didn't we already have a work session on this exact topic last year?
We did. So. Okay, so we give direction to Councilor DeBoer. Do you, any other direction, Councilor, you want to give him?
No, because this was an update. I was here and prepared to listen to an update. I didn't realize this would expand outside of scope of what's on the agenda. I'm happy to table my opinion here and move on to the next topic. Thank you.
Okay. So Councilor DeBoer, is that you have the two items to take back?
Yes, sir.
All right, so with that, if there's nothing else, we'll move on to audit. So Bill?
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. So audit. Earlier last week, I contacted UVF representative, Savannah. And her last name is escaping me, Halter. I contacted her and asked her if there was any, I have been updating city council regarding where the FY22 audit is. I've been updating it for a number of meetings from my perspective of seeing the work between Marina and UVF on $12 financial auditors. And I said, my council kind of needs to see something a little more formal because it's all my point of view. And we're getting a lot of public comment that is not constructive, but is pointed about audits. And so that would be helpful. Friday, I heard from Savannah with not a ton of detail and not really anything written other than an email that, well, the most recent update we got of some information from Marina was on X date, and so we're still working on that. And I coordinated with Matt Apkin and Marina Vet since then, and he produced for me, I don't have the email, you know, it's a little candid, but there's a timeline of information that Marina and staff have provided to UVF and UVF that is not necessarily immediately turned around or so. It's not my job to say any particular consultant or contractor is, I don't have anything, I don't have an explanation specifically as to why we don't yet have the audit report when I was originally told a certain time frame. But I can assure you as the staff and Marina have worked to get information in a timely manner very quickly to UVF. So if you have questions very specifically, I did get the name of the CPA that's actually managing the project. Savannah is not a CPA and Savannah is not managing the project. I can request that person to show up and provide a presentation, answers, that sort of thing. Frankly, from my perspective as the city manager with the audit, Savannah gave questions, answers to questions that about findings and this, that, and the other that had the assurance of a complete audit. The audit is not done. The audit was far from done when Savannah gave her presentation, and she asserted a lot of findings that those are not supposed to declare and leave until you have a complete audit report. So we're kind of puzzled by that presentation ourselves. So at this point, it's really your decision as a group how you would like to move forward. I can invite them to kind of give an update to themselves in person at the next meeting if there isn't an audit report for FY 2022 for you to review between now and then. But I'm here to tell you, Staff and Marina have provided timely information to both them and the
Council, any thoughts? Councilor Ford?
Go ahead, Councilman.
Councilor Ugarte, I'll just add in something really quick, but I would be curious what this body's consensus would be if we did entertain inviting them to every council meeting to provide an update in person or virtually until the audits are complete. And I share that, you know, again, with like the most love for this company, but I think lighting a fire and that sense of urgency is really important to the public as well.
Councilor Ford?
I would like to say that Councilor Ugarte is my hero.
That's my line.
So I think that would be great that we could both get Marina and Umpqua in the same room at the same time and make them available to answer our questions. And so that staff isn't being blamed if some consultant is holding us up.
Councilor Warrington?
I concur. I agree with that. And I believe we've asked them if there's an additional charge and they said no, if I'm not mistaken. So I support that request.
Councilor Weber? Say yes.
To me, the audits are kind of number one, and I don't think we have a lot of credibility now, because for a couple of years we've said almost, and I think the only way to get past that is Councilor Ugarte's idea. We've got to have them show up in front of us and explain what's going on. So I certainly favor that, because otherwise it's on us.
Councilor Rivera?
Align.
And I concur. So Bill, could we please make both of that happen? And if you need me to be the muscle, I'll make jokes about it, but I probably wouldn't be very good muscle.
No problem.
Thank you. Okay. You know, city manager report.
Okay. Everyone don't read this. Right. Okay, so I'm gonna take my time with the city manager report to clarify the record on a few things. Number one, we had some information submitted in the public record, and there has been public discourse, and even a petition to have me fired by the city council by the Friends of North Plains Smart Growth. I won't get into that membership, it's not germane right now, but a key plank of that campaign, and what we heard alluded to this evening, insisted that the city manager has spent anywhere from $800 something thousand to $1.1 million and is pushing an urban growth boundary expansion with those expenditures. So in the agenda, first, I shared with my memorandum the contract between ODOT's Transportation Growth Management Program and 3J Consulting to do the urban growth boundary concept planning that this ODOT TGM grant is paying for. I believe the dollar figure in the contract is around $285,000 or something to that effect. It is all state and federal money, and not a penny, not one penny of it is, has been, or will be city money. The assertions publicly and the information that got in is false, misunderstanding, false statement, whatever. The city's not spending on this on UGB plan, and that is the contract independently between the state and 3J to demonstrate. And I will go further. The only role, I mean, there is an in-kind contribution to the effort by contract, staff time, working to provide the room, the AV to hold the meetings, sharing information about who to contact, ask this, that, or the other. And then every month I get an email from Glenn Boland, the project manager at ODOT. He asks me to review 3J's invoice, verify that they've done the work that they are billing for, and it's up to me to authorize the payment of state and federal money to 3J. Now, 3J Consulting has helped the city of North Plains over the years on a variety of things. They also happen to be part of a list of qualified planning firms that ODOT separately through its own contracting process pre-qualifies a pool of consultants. And ODOT hires from that pool. 3J does a lot of planning with a lot of communities statewide. Transportation, housing, land use, parks, all kinds of things. There is no city agreement with 3J that is costing the city money. This is the state working with a contractor they pre-certified to be qualified to do this, but 3J is very familiar with North Plains, and so it made sense for them to be the consultant on this. But city money is in no way involved in this, so I have not spent the money that this change.org petition has been going around selling incorrect information. On the topic of Bill Reed, the city manager is pushing a UGB expansion that is against the will of the voters, is against the city council. The city of North Plains has an agreement with ODOT's TGM program to do an urban growth boundary concept planning process. The scope of work of that project has changed. Originally, when it was awarded or announced to be awarded, it was to concept plan an urban growth boundary expansion that had been adopted by ordinance. Well, we know that's no longer the case. So ODOT over time changed the scope of work to allow the community to just figure out what kind of growth concept might make sense in the wake of that decision. Because again, voters were asked yes or no on that UGB expansion, and voters said no. And again, some voters, there wasn't any formal poll when people voted. Why are you voting no? That's kind of what the whole process is, to identify and figure out what a kind of growth concept or concepts make sense and what people are and were thinking. So there's an extensive citizen involvement, goal one process involved here. But we have an agreement with ODOT and their TGM grant program. And as the city manager, it is my job to manage that agreement and do our part with the state. I'm not pushing the UGB expansion. It is my job to manage it as the city manager to make sure that we are into the bargain, and they do as well. And so if folks want to interpret that, spin it however they want, as I'm pushing an urban growth boundary expansion, I can't do anything about that. But I am managing the process on behalf of this as part of our agreement. So to clarify that. There were some other comments this evening I want to address that have to do with the food bank and ultimately the loading zone decision. I fully invite anybody from the food bank, its board, its director, anybody to file a formal complaint about the city manager targeting and trying to close the food bank, and I welcome an investigation into that. Nothing's further from the truth. I have shared an excerpt in the agenda packet, letting you all know, and for folks who haven't read it, the decision on the loading zone was made with my support by staff, but staff and the city attorney met on a number of times in discussions and decided interpretation of code and policy on that decision. I was accused in public comment by the director of the food bank weeks ago of targeting the food bank to try to close it. And because of those unfounded claims, I made the decision to step back and let staff work with the city attorney so that their work would not be tainted by unfounded political accusations of me targeting the food bank. Again, let there be an investigation. Please, I would love my name to be cleared, but it's really unsettling and unfortunate that those accusations are being made. So, any questions about that particular issue?
I just have one comment on the previous.
Go for it.
Council was one that authorized the change on the TGM grant. It did not have anything to do with the bill. Just for the record, it came before this body in July. Sorry, I can't remember the month. I have to look it up. But council did authorize that. That was our choice, because we did have the funds available and we wanted to have a concept plan. We just didn't know what it would look like. So that was a council decision. Bill was directed to do that. So there was that piece. Also, on the food bank, I just want to point out that council voted on how to handle that, so that should be a done deal, because per council rules, council now supports the decision that was made by the majority, even if they didn't vote for it. So I'll just leave those two. Any other questions?
Okay, one more item I want to clarify for the record. Data centers. The city has an adopted and acknowledged by the state, by DLCD and LCDC, the Land Conservation and Development Commission, Economic Opportunities Analysis. That report documents a need for industrial and commercial employment use acreage for 20 years of growth for the city of North Plains. By state law, the acreage, the city has full discretion over how much employment land it adds. But it has to have a plan for the types of land and amount so that it can draw from that in its urban growth boundary expansion planning if it chooses to expand with employment land. Thus the discussion about tax base being affected by the ratio of housing to employment land that gets added. What I want to do here, I'm at the city website, UGB concept planning project. And at the bottom is a tab that says employment opportunities analysis, and that's what I opened up, that document. Okay, so here's the project webpage, and at the very bottom, economic opportunities analysis. This is where the term data center or centers is used. So now I've opened it up, the PDF, and I'm going to enter data centers, or data center, I should say. And there are going to be 58 uses of the term data center in the economic opportunities analysis. And I want to be clear that throughout the document, there's a lot of technical information about data centers being an industry nearby and as a potential industry for North Plains to consider for its future plan. And so there's a lot of technical info about that it's an opportunity because it's nearby the city of Hillsborough. There's information, the next citation is talking about that they use a certain amount of power, so we would need to plan for that if we have a data center. We talk about how they co-locate, just technical information. How do they co-locate? How do they work? So that if we're going to plan for them, we know. There's 3 mentions of that on that page. On and on and on. And a bunch of mentions here about data centers and why North Plains might consider it because of our proximity to Hillsborough and in the investment. So just a lot of technical info. Again, just technical info. Okay, so the 21st mention on page 57 of the document is actually the key information of what the city has adopted as its land needs. Okay, it's employment land needs. And on that page, it's table what, 6.10. Yes, the city has identified the need for 2 100-acre sites. And on those 2 100-acre sites, they are best suited to, these are just recommended uses for potential employers to occur on one of these 2 sites. Data centers are a candidate use. Major tech employer is a candidate use. Major product manufacturing research center are candidate uses. There's no dictum that it has to be data centers. There is no dictum that it has to be a number of data centers. There is no dictum in the land need findings that data centers can be on any more than just these 2 sites possibly, if the city even allows data centers in the city. The rest of the land need findings for employment are a variety of sites and sizes that don't once mention data centers. There's no other citation in that table succinctly showing all of the employment land that the city has adopted for need. It's only potentially on 2 sites and only potentially if the city allows it or wants it. That's it. There's a lot of information out there about how data centers are going to line and surround Sunset Ridge. They're going to go all the way to Highway 26. They're going to be all over the place, polluting and doing this, that, and the other. Our plans do not call for it, require it, anticipate it, or even dictate it. So I want to be clear, I don't think that's going to do anything regarding what gets set outside the city. But that is our adopted planning document. the rest of the mentions of data centers get back to technical information. Just that. I'm walking through it this way so that if anybody wants to do it themselves, they can. There's a table about how data center uses power. There's citing special considerations. There are footnotes about special technical considerations that says data center over and over again. Tables of information about data centers in Hillsborough, so we understand what they look like and what they need if we have. And that basically just continues, or tables and footnotes until we get to citation 58 in a final technical table about how they operate and what we might consider if the city wants to have them. Councilor, you don't have a question?
I just want to say dialogue is important, even if it sounds repetitive. And this is important that we continue this messaging, even though we had a work session over a year ago. People have slept since then. Details get missed, new questions bubble up, especially with all the recent hubbub across the street in Hillsborough. And I can't blame the community to be trigger happy with a data center. I'm in fact concerned about our capacity for electricity on our side, given what's happening over on the other side of the street of the highway. And to be quite honest, I think that's some questions we should be asking. But this dialogue is needed. I appreciate the commentary. If there was a desire for the council as a whole to bulletproof a future and X-ray any data centers because we decide that North Plains is allergic to them, how would we accomplish that, Bill?
That would simply be a process through the planning commission to recommend current zoning to be amended to disallow. There's no land in the city that would allow them right now. That there's one site of 10 acres north of the building that ASML is in. That company is still committed to building a high-tech machinery recycling facility. But that's really the only place that something could even possibly occur. I don't know that we have the electrical capacity to have one there, frankly, at this point. Beyond that, it would really boil down to, once the community decided it wanted to grow and how, later down the road of figuring out zoning for all these different uses, well past what is going on right now with concept planning. Zoning would be worked on and drafted, and it could exclude outright data centers. So there are different steps along the way where restrictions can occur, but it would be planning commission and city council.
Okay. Thank you.
So just one more point to add to that. Also, I believe the governor's either signed or will sign a moratorium, I believe, for the next 18 months on any abatements. There will be no abatements in the state of Oregon allowed, even if we wanted to. And an abatement requires the city to actually go out and do that. The county cannot do that for us. Because we own the land, we can do the abatement.
Councilor Hagedorn here. I do want to emphasize, though, I do think that we need to, as a body, encourage dialogue. I think we're adverse to conflict and hard conversations, and this has probably been the most productive use of our airspace that that we've had thus far. So I do want to encourage those candid conversations. That's what we're here for. We should have to debate whether to have something on an agenda or how to do it. We should just feel comfortable to have this talk. But I want to thank you for the candid feedback. Thank you.
Councilor Robert.
So for clarity, I've kind of heard different versions over the months and months. So if we do industrial growth, it is possible there would be data centers.
Only if this body allows it.
I'm just saying, I think we have to be honest. It's a yes, no question. And the answer is yes, it's possible.
If this body allows it.
No, hold, I want to, again, Councilor, that's been sent to planning commission with these explicit instructions that we wanted data centers prohibited in the code. So it has to go through planning commission. Planning commission has to complete the code before we can do anything. So therefore, the answer is no, because it'll be in the code when they bring it to us. Or it will go back to them until they fix it. That's how the planning commission works with council.
To be fair, Councilor Hagedorn here, do we have any line of sight of when that will be in front of us? Is that the June 10th meeting?
I think you could bring it up then, for
Okay.
sure.
It'll be a productive use of our time in this work session. Council.
Mayor Dunbar, thank you, Bill, for your feedback. I think it's really great. I think the concern I'm hearing maybe from other counselors is we're looking for the word bulletproof, and to me zoning codes can be updated. And if we expand UGB boundaries, that is a more permanent thing than zoning codes. And I guess I'm very nervous about expanding UGBs in a way that's inconsistent with what the community has told us they wanted. So I'm going to be looking for ways that we can all align on UGB growth, regardless of zoning codes.
Anybody else?
I concur with Counselor Mark. I'm sorry, it's like midnight, so I'm getting really tired. So I concur with what Mark just said.
Bill, anything else on council reports? Or sorry, on city manager reports?
I think I spoke on it, so thank you.
Okay. So because it is 3 minutes to 9:30, I'm going to call on each one of you for council reports and we'll wrap this up. So Councilor Warrington, let's get you out of here.
Thank you. I attended a budget committee on 5/14, a planning commission on 5/13, and the PAC meeting on 5/12. I don't have any comments around that. I think we've talked about all of them already. So just calling out what I've been attending in the last 2 weeks.
Thank you, Councilor Ford.
No, thank you.
Councilor Ugarte.
Thank you, Councilor Ugarte. I know we are 2 minutes to 9:30, so I am just looking for a consensus from this body to continue past 9:30.
Yes, like 5-10 minutes. Yes.
Okay. Now rapid fire this. This is a question for Bill or Dustin. Can the city provide official signage in front of the North Plains Food Bank? And this might be a rolling question, to help prevent confusion for North Plains Food Bank patrons, just to help alleviate any confusion on loading zone, not loading zone. Sorry to put you on the spot.
Councilor Ugarte, this is Public Works Director Dustin Knight. We can look in what options are. I think MUTCD has a sign that says parallel parking. But I have to go and double check. But that's something that we can definitely look at.
Yeah, just something, I think, universal, neutral, right, that can sustain for the next 10-15 years, right? It doesn't have to be food bank specific, but I'm just hoping to alleviate that confusion and you know, help kind of that flow.
Well, I think the initial thought was having the diagonal spots actually removed and then painting in the parallel spots kind of consistent with other places was going to be enough. But if there needs to be more direction on this specific type of sign, we can look into what we can actually put on the signs.
Okay, thank you. And then just another quick question. I was just curious if we can prioritize public education on our social media platform. Because again, I think there's a lot of misinformation swirling around. Maybe a fun fact Friday that we can work with to try to educate the public, and again, just purely factual. I'm gonna keep this really brief, but we recently had our mid-biennium budget meeting, and I was humbly reminded, with the rest of council at our lack of progress based on previous budget committee direction. And I just really want to emphasize to this body, it is our responsibility to come to meetings educated. And I also understand that we have had incredible turnover and there's so much to learn. It's like drinking from a fire hose, but I really want to implore each of my peers to go back and read through council minutes from the previous 3-4 years, watch the videos, find out what happened, and bring those questions to council during council reports in lieu of having to have a work session to educate, something we've already discussed 6 months ago. And again, I want to say it's okay to ask questions, but I want to focus less on having to educate this council to bring them up to speed and more so on actually making progress for our constituents. The last thing I just wanted to discuss, was, again, our resolution earlier regarding updating council rules. There was, you know, a scenario that I'm going back through, looking through, the public record for the November 10th, Parks Board meeting, and there was a specific incident, that occurred, and I'm just gonna read it verbatim from the minutes. So, Chair Simmons raised concerns about a board member who had misrepresented their authority by contacting Elaine Howard at the Urban Renewal Agency on multiple occasions and reaching out to the city of Tigard, speaking with a senior staff member there, supposedly on behalf of the North Plains Parks Board without board authorization. City Manager Reed explained that he had been contacted by a staff member from the city of Tigard who informed him that Don Weber had been asking questions about urban renewal districts. Additionally, Elaine Howard, an urban renewal consultant who would be working with North Plains, had reported that Don had contacted her twice, claiming to represent the Parks Board. She had told him not to contact her again. Don Weber defended his actions, stating he was simply trying to gather information and being transparent about his role on the Parks Board. He claimed he never specifically said he was representing the Parks Board, but was merely identifying himself honestly. That being said, I will redact the rest of the information from that public meeting. But I want to, again, bring this forward to this body of having some sort of council amendment on our rules to prevent this specific action that allegedly happened on a board member of this dais.
Okay, so do we have consensus to bring this back? 2343 for review and revision?
With revision, yes.
Councilor Forge? Okay. Councilor Warrington? I think that's a yes. All right, so let's add that as a unfinished business item, please, and I will work on a revision.
Thank you. And then the last thing I just wanted to add, I know there is a lot of division in our community right now, and I know it's late and I don't know who's still online. But it was very disheartening to drive into Jesse Mays tonight to see slander posted on light poles regarding city staff. And I'm gonna echo what Mayor Number always says, remember, we're neighbors. Remember, we are all people, and there is a way to communicate and there is a way to slander. And what I saw tonight was slander, and I really want to encourage anyone that is listening or watching this, this is not what makes North Plains North Plains. Do better.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Weber?
Councilor Weber, I attended another MAC executive session for several hours. And since I only attend executive sessions so far with MAC, I obviously can't comment on that at all. Just for clarification on the Parks Board thing that Councilor Ugarte brought up, that was obviously before I was on city council. And I think that issue was covered quite a bit by different people. It was covered a lot actually at the planning commission level where they each, several of them commented they had done exactly the same thing I had done, saw no problem in it. I don't think there was any problem in retrospect. Actually, the version you gave is a little incomplete, so I don't really want to deep dive into it, but I think it's important to clarify. We're talking about rules for city council. Rules for the boards would be a separate discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Cameron?
Yes, on 5/11, I was slated to attend the Parks Board and Recreation Board, but that was canceled. I did notify Lori that we have an amendment to the packet to make the calendar. Thank you. Question, the umbrella policy, where are we at in terms of legal review, and would there be a way that we could push that over the finish line anytime soon?
Councilor Hagel, that's a great question. It was never handed to me and specifically by former Councilor Redding to hand over to the attorney. I think she had some notes she wanted to do, and it was between Councilor Redding and former Councilor Redding. and Emily. I think we could probably take whatever version is considered your draft, your revised draft, and have Emily review it if she wanted to. I know she wanted to read through it pretty thoroughly. If it touches on a variety of different bodies, because different boards are in different chapters of the
Yeah.
code, so it's kind of complicated. But I don't know that it's been given.
So
This is the question.
I think the question is, do you want to get consensus and do that? Have Emily look at what was that you're asking?
My understanding is it was handed over after the last working session. So yes,
Yeah.
it would be great to apply that body of work and do something good with it.
Can we get consensus real quick? Is everybody good with handing that to Emily for review soon? Yes, okay, let's make it happen. Thank you.
One last comment, on the dirty data center bird. I do have concerns on, some of the current, the taxing, if at all, on our power and the impact, if at all, on our capacity. And so something that I would like you to think about and the council to think about is, should we be talking to PGE and understanding what implications that has on our capacity forward looking, as well as some of the expanded industry that we've already plugged into the city?
Councilor Hagedorn, I think the answer to that is a yes. Somebody from PGE, that representative, is on the technical advisory committee.
Great.
As a part of consideration of things. And then if not them, there's somebody else there that can come and speak to city council about just existing grid and things like that.
Is that council's on the agenda?
Could we also include water?
We just, GWC, sorry.
JWC?
Actually, we have water. Dustin.
We're water. We are.
We are water.
We are water.
What, can you be more specific?
JWC. Or.
Like how, like as far as capacity or what, I'm trying to get the clarification.
Capacity or pricing that they would be charging us. I understand that we're wholesaling.
Oh, yeah, does that make sense? Is council on board with
Yes.
adding JWC as well?
Yes.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Q, with a good question.
No, go ahead.
Stacy Steele with City of Hillsborough, JWC is also on the technical advisory committee, so if there's someone.
Maybe add the two of them in the near future, just so we can grill them. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
That's all. Okay. I had Washington County Coordinating Committee today, nothing new, lots of money being spent. I had Economic Development Commission ask me for metrics. My suggested metric, but I'm open to others, was, what does this was more leases, but how much do we raise the property tax value in the residences, and what is the foot traffic in downtown? That's what we would like to target for the downtown businesses. And that was based on some feedback from city manager Reed, who helped us kind of formulate how to think that through. Also, I just wanted to point out one thing that was brought up during public comment about audit controls that's already been addressed by the body several times. So I just want to put that on record that we have addressed that several times. Also spending limits, we just covered that again in work session, it's been covered a couple of times. So there was some things were incorrect. The correct information is in the packet, so please refer to that. And then finally, I'll second what Councilor Ugarte said, we're all neighbors. The things that are going on in the city are a little disappointing. To be honest, it's kind of embarrassing to go to, mayor meetings or whatever, and people ask people what the heck's going on in your city. I don't really have a good answer, so it'd be really nice if everybody could just try to treat each other like human beings. Because personally, I'm getting a little tired of it, and I know the rest of council is, and I'm sure city staff is not loving this either. So even if you disagree, you don't have to be mean to each other. So that's the last thing I'll say is, let's try to be nice, let's try to keep our public comments professional and about things that are relevant, and hopefully things are eventually on the agenda. So with that, anything else? Okay, we are adjourned at 9:40. What?